Hey, what's going on guys? My name is Silentcore and I was invited over to the Battlefront booth just a few days ago by EA to cover Star Wars Battlefront. Now I wasn't allowed to capture any gameplay there, the game is still in, I guess, alpha form, so it wasn't quite ready for any capture. However, I am allowed to tell you guys all about my experience playing it. So, in this video I'm going to be going through a lot of, I guess, unreleased facts and information about this game I haven't seen anybody else talk about yet. So if you guys are really looking forward to this game, hopefully I can satisfy your hunger for information just a little bit. So just before I get into this, I have played Star Wars games in the past, but I've never played a Battlefront game before, so I can't really compare this one to the last one. However, I am a big Battlefield player. So I actually spent quite a lot of my time at E3 at the Battlefront booth. I played maybe about 4 or 5 times, just so I could try to bring you guys as much information about this game as possible. So without further ado, let's get into this. So just before I start, I can confirm that Star Wars Battlefront is not just a Battlefield reskin. It looks and plays very different, while it also did sort of satisfy me being a Battlefield player myself. The game is definitely a lot different from Battlefield, and I've got to say that I really do like that. So to start off, there was a character selection screen. We were able to choose 2 different hands, and these hands are basically a preset of 3 star cards, and we couldn't customize exactly what 3 star cards we wanted. We just had a primary and a secondary hands to choose from. It's hard to say at this stage whether we'll be able to completely customize these hands in the final game, or if it's going to be just pre-made packs we'll have to choose from. So the 2 hands that were available, the primary hand had barrage, where basically you have a launcher and you shoot a cluster of kind of grenades. Then there was 5 uses of ion shot. This seemed to make your next few bullets be a bit more powerful. And then the 3rd star card was a jetpack. And fun fact about the jetpack is that you tap it once and it will propel you forward quite far and quite fast, and it was really good for evading enemy fire if you got into a sticky situation, and it would completely deplete your whole charge of the jetpack. And then it would slowly refill until you can use it the next time. So you can't say, for example, use half of your jetpack's charge on a smaller jump. Every time you use it, it would use the whole charge. The second class was a secondary hand, which consisted of a thermal detonator, basically a very powerful grenade you could throw, 5 uses of a personal shield, and also an ion torpedo, which was basically a homing missile. And then getting into the Star Wars Battlefront controls, I've got to say they were super easy for me to pick up being a Battlefield player. There were a few slight changes, such as you can't go prone in this game, you can only go crouch. There were also 3 different buttons for activating each of your abilities, or as they're known in this game, star cards, as I just mentioned. So on the PS4 controls were L1 for your left card, R1 for your right card, and then to use your middle card you would hold down triangle. Another really interesting addition to Star Wars Battlefront that I didn't really expect was the addition of a few emotes. So very similar to Destiny, you would have a bunch of different emotes on your D-pad, and when you activated them, your camera would kind of switch into third-person mode if you weren't already to perform the emote. And from what I saw, there was a salute, a cheer emote, and a slow clap emote that was quite entertaining. I'm not sure the exact purpose of these emotes, but I guess it would be fun if you're in co-op modes with friends. Another one of the major additions to the controls was the use of the perspective toggle, and I found there was actually 3 different modes that you could change at any time you wanted, either when you're on foot or in a vehicle. There was obviously the first person mode, and then there was 2 different third person modes that you could toggle through. So there was a third person over the right shoulder and then a third person over the left shoulder. And all of these were completely seamless to switch at any time in the game. So let's get into the guns. So there were 4 different guns available in this build. We only had 4 weapons available in this build of the game, but they were the E11, which was a blaster rifle, the DLT-19, which was a heavy blaster, the DH-17, which was a blaster pistol, and the A280, which was a blaster rifle. And I got to say, I really liked that blaster rifle. I found in the multiplayer that you really had to aim for the head. If you aimed for the body, I often found my guns would take too long to kill somebody, and they might even be able to kill me first if they got any headshots on me, so I found it's always worth it to aim for the head. You could also shoot from the hip, which was actually quite accurate when you were shooting from the hip, or you could of course aim down the sights if your weapon has a scope. I actually found the rifles in particular were really effective for sniping across the map. You could be super accurate at long ranges by just sort of capping your fire and shooting single shots rather than just holding down the trigger button and just spraying bullets. The weapons that I tried didn't require any ammo, so there was no option to reload them. They all kind of had a heat gauge, so you could, if you shot too many times at once, it could overheat. And I did highlight this in the trailer breakdown, but if your weapon did overheat, you'd have a chance of doing somewhat of an active reload by pressing the reload button or the square button on the PS4 when the markers kind of went by the yellow sections. And I did notice that each time you did this, the yellow section would actually get smaller and smaller, making this harder and harder to pull off each time your weapon overheated. I did actually confirm with one of the devs after I played, and he confirmed that there's no damage boost from doing these active reloads, so it's not going to be like Gears of War where you get a few extra damage on your next few bullets after doing an active reload. It's simply an option to be able to, I guess, recover faster after your weapon overheats. So when you're playing Battlefront on multiplayer, you'll notice there's kind of special abilities that can randomly appear around the battlefield, and I believe these are actually called tokens in Star Wars Battlefront. There'll be kind of a blue spinning symbol on the map, and you can just basically run over to them and collect the special ability or the token, and you can activate it by hitting L1 and R1 at the same time. I found there was quite a few different tokens that you could pick up that were available. One of them was a charge for your star card or your middle star card, such as giving you an extra shield. A smart rocket that was really effective at taking out enemy AATSTs. Thermal imploder grenades, which were basically a very powerful grenade that kind of has almost a double blast to it as it implodes. And then even vehicle pickups. So it's not going to be like Battlefield where you have to wait for a vehicle to respawn and then jump in it. All of the vehicles that I found in Star Wars Battlefront were actually available through these token pickups. So that includes being able to operate the AT-AT Walker, and also all of the other vehicles that were available in multiplayer. From what I found, the vehicle pickups weren't that common, but there was a few different ones that I did try. So I got to try one of the TIE fighters. I actually found those were super hard to control. There was ATSTs, the AT-AT Walkers. These actually had 3 different types of attacks that you could use. There was the heavy laser cannon, a pair of blasters, and also an epic orbital strike that would quite easily take out a whole area of troops. There were snow speeders, so these had the abilities to use the tow cable ability to actually take down the AT-AT Walkers. And there was probably a few other vehicles that I may have missed, but those were the ones that I was able to actually give a try in my games. So just before I end this video, I've got a few other various kind of facts about Star Wars Battlefront for you guys. So the health in this game, it recovers super fast. If you don't take any damage for around 2 seconds, your health will actually practically just jump to 100% again. It just recovers so quickly. And so if you take any enemy fire, it's pretty good practice to take cover and just let that get back to 100% again. I also noticed if you have a token pickup, such as a smart rocket, if you found yourself that you died, when you spawn again, you'll still have that pickup. So death in this game doesn't make you lose your token pickups. I also had the chance to play a few games of the co-op game mode, so this was kind of the wave mode that the enemies get harder and harder progressively throughout each wave. We were only able to play waves 1 to 6 in this demo. I've got to say, even level 6 did feel quite hard with one co-op partner, so it's going to be really interesting to see what it's like getting up to even wave 15, 14, 15. They're probably going to be pretty hard waves. In one of the games we played, my co-op partner actually died when we had no lives left, and while I was still able to play, I did notice there was a heart appear on my minimap, and when I went over and grabbed that, he was able to use that heart, or just spend that heart to be able to get back into the game. So even if your partner dies and you have no lives left, there still is a chance that you can recover it. So there you go guys, that was everything that I learned from Star Wars Battlefront from my time playing it at E3. Let me know in the comments if you have any other questions about this game. I'll try my best to answer them. And don't forget to leave the video a like, it's only 1 click and helps me out a ton. Subscribe for more videos like this, and I'll see you dudes in the next one.